On the vast savanna, every lion's attack begins with cold calculation and precise close-range maneuvering. The distance is closed in silence, and the final lunge often occurs in just a few short seconds. But not every brutal attack ends in the expected victory. It is in these recorded moments of failure that the true limits of predatory instinct become clearly revealed. Few grassland species maintain such close-knit herds as the buffalo. Each adult bears a pair of thick, sharp, curved horns, powerful enough to deliver a goring that can inflict serious injury. When one member of the herd is in danger, the reflex to turn and help occurs almost instantaneously. This collective structure makes any hunt inherently unpredictable. A lion has successfully closed in and is concentrating all its strength on its prey. The distance is almost under control, and the outcome seems to depend on the final seconds. Its attention is entirely focused on the target, ignoring movements at the edge of the herd. Suddenly, another buffalo charges forward at high speed, head lowered, horns pointing straight ahead. Immediately afterward, several other individuals advance, forming an overwhelming defensive mass in return. The lion was forced to constantly dodge to avoid being gored head-on, completely losing its attack rhythm. The initiative shifted to the buffalo herd in just a few brief moments. The hunt ended with the lion retreating passively. The defeat didn't stem from a lack of strength, but from a failure to control an unplanned situation. In nature, collective strength can reverse power faster than any single attack. The Oryx's long, straight horns were not just a distinguishing feature, but a precise and dangerous defensive weapon. When fully grown, each headbutt could generate enough force to inflict serious injury on a predator. Oryx didn't rely on speed to flee first, but rather on its ability to maintain position and control the direction of the confrontation. It was this instinct for direct confrontation that made many hunts so unpredictable. A group of lions approached in close coordination, moving in an arc to close the distance. They expected a numerical advantage and a quick overwhelm. When the gap was tightened, the lions charged simultaneously, trying to create an initial pressure strong enough to break the prey's stance. The Oryx didn't turn and run. It lowered its head, positioned its horns precisely, and launched a precise counterattack as soon as the distance narrowed. The counterattack forced the lions to dodge, disrupting the rhythm of the attack and breaking the initial coordination. In that single moment, the advantage of numbers began to diminish. The hunt ended when the pride of lions chose to retreat rather than risk approaching again. Oryx didn't win by sheer strength, but by its ability to inflict serious injury. In nature, a sufficiently dangerous weapon can completely alter a predator's decision. During migration, wildebeest move in herds of thousands, maintaining close distances to reduce the risk of being separated. Besides their endurance on long journeys, Each adult possesses a pair of strong, curved horns, capable of generating a powerful charge when cornered. This combination of herd instinct and the ability to counterattack directly makes them a formidable target. When a wildebeest temporarily slows down, the lion sees an opportunity. It accelerates recklessly, believing that a quick, close approach will bring it under control. The distance closes rapidly, and the chase seems to be nearing its end. But instead of continuing to run, the wildebeest suddenly turns around. It lowered its head and delivered a powerful headbutt, generating enough lift to dislodge the lion. The second lion tried to assist but bit in the wrong place, unable to lock down the fiercely resisting body. Just one initial counterattack reversed the entire situation. The attack ended when the lion was forced to retreat to avoid serious injury. The defeat didn't stem from a lack of strength, but from misjudgment and a lack of precise coordination. In nature, a single moment of miscalculation is enough to cause a predator to lose its advantage. Few species control space as well as elephants when their herds appear on the open grasslands. With their superior size and disciplined herd structure, each adult maintains a protective position for the young in the center. This synchronized defensive reflex creates an invisible boundary that every predator must be wary of before approaching. On the open grassland, a lioness lowers her body and advances slowly. She keeps close to the ground, stalking step by step, her eyes locked on a baby elephant standing near the edge of the herd. The distance narrows cautiously, and the lions behind maintain a supportive position. Tension begins to build as the intention to attack becomes clear. The elephant's reaction is almost instantaneous. The mother elephant turns, charging straight forward at incredible speed, her ears wide open to increase her field of vision and emitting a loud, threatening roar. The space in front of it was completely taken over. The lion pride, which had been so proactive, began to falter and disperse. The hunting attempt ended in seconds. The lion did not fail due to a lack of ability, but because the risks had exceeded acceptable limits. When a mother elephant decides to protect her calf, the balance of power can shift instantly. In nature, survival belongs to those who know when to stop before the price becomes too high. It's not size, but the porcupine's sharp spines that are its true strength. When it senses danger, its long, stiff spines instantly stand up, turning its back into a defensive wall. The porcupine doesn't panic and run away, but turns its back to its opponent, positioning all its weapons precisely. A lion approaches and tries a light touch to probe. The porcupine bristles, maintaining its posture, forcing the lion to get closer if it wants to control the situation. Initial caution quickly turns into tension. When the distance narrows too much, the porcupine violently shakes its tail, making the spines on its back a direct threat. The lion recoils from the sharp pain and immediately loses its will to continue. Just one wrong approach is enough to reverse the advantage. The confrontation ends quickly when the lion retreats. Hedgehogs don't need to chase or retaliate aggressively. The mere risk of prolonged injury is enough to deter the predator. Baboons survive thanks to their tight-knit troop structure and rapid collective reaction to danger. Upon detecting a threat, the adults immediately move forward, forming a protective shield for the young behind them. Their long fangs are displayed as a clear warning signal, and this unity forces predators to reconsider before approaching. A lion crouches low, stalking from behind bushes, then suddenly lunges when it sees an opening. It expects the prey to panic and flee, as in typical hunts. But the targeted individual doesn't retreat. It stands still, bares its teeth, and advances straight ahead, forcing the lion to halt mid-attack. The moment the baboon didn't run changed the entire course of the game. The lion lost its momentum and chose to retreat to avoid the risk of a collective counterattack. The hunt failed not because of a lack of strength, but because the familiar scenario was disrupted from the very first moment of confrontation. Antelopes live on open grasslands where danger can appear from any direction. Their vigilance is almost constant. Their light bodies and agile movements allow them to change direction in a short burst, and this reflex is fundamental to their survival. As the lion begins to close the distance, the tension increases significantly. Each acceleration is calculated to corner the antelope. At the decisive moment, the lion lunges with near-perfect precision. But in that very second, the antelope changes direction and leaps high, disrupting the entire pursuit trajectory. The lion loses its target lock and is forced to slow down because it cannot adjust in time. Just one timely reflex reverses the outcome, and the hunt ends almost instantly. In the open expanse of the grassland, the pack of wild dogs maintained a stable formation instead of scattering in panic. They moved in tight arcs, each individual maintaining a reasonable distance and continuously emitting vocal signals to keep pace. The pressure wasn't explosive, but gradually increased, creating a palpable tension. The lioness observed in silence, keeping her body low and waiting for the opportune moment. Upon spotting a small gap at the edge of the pack, she suddenly accelerated, charging straight in with great decisiveness. One dog was separated from the formation, and for a brief moment, the initiative seemed to belong to the predator. The rhythm immediately changed. The pack of dogs turned around in unison, closing in from multiple directions with high speed and almost instantaneous reaction. The lion was forced to constantly maneuver to avoid being surrounded, and the prey it had just held was no longer under its control. The advantage it had just formed was quickly eroded. The encounter ended when the lion retreated to re-establish a safe distance. The pack of wild dogs quickly tightened their formation as before, leaving no further weaknesses exposed. This was a clear emotional shift from tension to reversal. In nature, just one well-coordinated collective reaction can change the entire course of events. Through each failed attack, the lion did not lose its position, but was forced to confront the realistic limits of risk. Nature does not grant victory to mere strength, but to the ability to adapt to unexpected variables. Just one advance by prey, one counterattack, or one well-timed reflex is enough to change the outcome. And it is in these moments of reversal that the true nature of survival is most clearly revealed. In the deep forests and sprawling grasslands of North America, wild cats don't just watch and wait. The camera captures the moment when the silence is shattered by a precise and explosive pounce. Each attack is a combination of speed, calculation, and extreme biological limits. These are moments that show the predatory instinct reaching its peak of focus and determination. The bobcat is a wild cat species widely distributed throughout North America, from the dense forests of the east to the arid deserts of Arizona. An adult typically weighs between 15 and 35 pounds, with a body length of about 2 to 3 feet, not including its characteristic short tail. Its pointed ears with black tufts of fur enhance its hearing in dense environments. Unlike other large cats that live in packs, the bobcat is solitary and relies entirely on its ability to camouflage itself. Its excellent eyesight in low light allows it to hunt at dawn and dusk. Its diet mainly consists of rabbits, squirrels, and ground birds, but when necessary, it can take down prey many times larger than itself. The bobcat's success doesn't come from its size, but from its agility and ability to adapt its tactics to the terrain. In the North American ecosystem, it plays a controlling role in small animal populations. This is clear evidence of the power of enduring adaptation in nature.
This is death.
Bobcats are solitary animals with territorial ranges ranging from about 1 to over 75 square miles, depending on prey density. These boundaries are not fixed. As the breeding season begins from February to April, pressure to protect space and breeding opportunities increases significantly. Encounters typically begin with growling, puffing up fur, and circling to assess the opponent. Most conflicts remain at the level of intimidation. However, when neither individual retreats, the distance quickly narrows and direct confrontation occurs. Attack focuses on the face and neck, accompanied by clawing with hind claws to gain an advantage in the first few seconds. Both understand that deep wounds can lead to infection and prolonged weakness. After a brief struggle, the weaker individual retreats from the area. This is an internal battle for territory, food, and genetic transmission opportunities. There are no absolute winners, only individuals who temporarily hold a position. In nature, survival is not just about hunting, but also about maintaining the necessary space to continue existing. White-tailed deer are common herbivores in North American forests and grasslands. Adults can weigh between 100 and 300 pounds, are fast-moving, and highly alert. However, fawns in their first few weeks rely heavily on camouflage and the reflex to lie still when threatened. The bobcat rarely confronts a strong adult. It observes areas near water sources and dense brush where fawns often hide. Instead of a long chase like a wolf, the bobcat waits until it is close enough to act decisively. Once the location is identified, the approach is quick and precise. A lock to the neck reduces resistance and shortens the struggle. The hunt ends before the mother deer can create a safe distance. A fawn can provide food for several days, meeting the bobcat's needs of about 2 pounds per day. This situation reflects a strategy of selective targeting based on the prey's life cycle. In nature, energy efficiency dictates the direction of all actions. In the dense forest canopy, the gray squirrel almost completely dominates the space above the ground. With leaps of 10 to 13 feet and agile changes of direction, they are rarely caught while still in the branches. But each time they descend to the ground to forage, that safe zone narrows considerably. The bobcat maintains a low position at the edge of the clearing, hidden in the dry leaves and shade. It doesn't move constantly, but waits for the right moment when the squirrel is concentrating on digging. The distance is shortened step by step, limiting the prey's ability to zigzag on the ground. When the opportunity arises, the bobcat lunges with a short, precise acceleration. The squirrel tries to head towards the nearest tree trunk, but the small gap is enough to decide the outcome. The hunt ends quickly thanks to the meticulous preparation. This case illustrates that each species has its own advantage depending on the terrain. Squirrels dominate the treetops, while bobcats control the ground. Success belongs to the individual who knows how to choose the right space and act when the probability is almost certain. In the daylight of the North American woodland, wild turkeys move constantly but remain vigilant. Their weight of 8 to 20 pounds provides them with considerable energy, but their keen eyesight allows them to detect danger very early. Only when they leave their safe, high vantage point and step into open space does the level of risk begin to increase. The bobcat maintains its distance and patiently observes. It doesn't rush, waiting for the moment its prey lowers its head to forage and separates from the group. Its body is lowered, each step slow and deliberate, its heart rate steady before acting. The distance narrows to its limit. In a few brief seconds, the bobcat explodes with speed, leaping over 10 feet to block the bird's flight path. The precise pounce causes the bird to lose momentum before it can regain its altitude. The struggle ends quickly. The result reflects the difference in just a moment. Bobcat's success depends entirely on timing and the prey's distraction. When conditions align perfectly, opportunity is transformed into success. In nature, small differences in reaction times can determine the entire outcome. Along the edges of forests and sparse grasslands, the bobcat moves close to the ground with constant vigilance. Weighing only 2 to 4 pounds, its long ears and instantaneous reflexes allow it to detect danger very early. Its high reproduction rate ensures a constant replenishment of the population, although survival rates aren't always stable. The bobcat takes advantage of its good eyesight in low light and moves slowly close to the ground. It follows the bush, keeping its body low to avoid revealing its approach path. Instead of sprinting early, the bobcat waits until the distance is close enough to minimize the possibility of a zigzag escape. When the rabbit detects danger and begins to change direction rapidly, the bobcat doesn't pursue in a straight line. It accelerates briefly and intercepts at the point of intersection. A precise pounce on the nape of the neck ends the hunt quickly. This reflects an efficient and energy-saving approach strategy. Rabbits rely on their large numbers and high reproductive rate to maintain their population. Bobcats play a role in regulating that density. In the ecosystem, both exist in a balanced cycle. On the edges of forests and open grasslands of North America, coyotes appear as persistent and unpredictable adversaries. Weighing between 20 and 50 pounds, they move in pairs or small groups, always closely following potential food sources. As resources dwindle, the competitive pressure between predators intensifies. Tenseness builds around a carcass left over from the previous night. A young coyote approaches closer than it's safe to. The bobcat observes silently, its body slowly lowering, then suddenly erupts with a concentrated lunge to the neck to gain the advantage from the very first moment. The coyote staggers and recoils, the surrounding space becoming heavy for a few brief seconds. The bobcat maintains just enough pressure to assert control. Upon noticing movement in the distance, it proactively moves away from the point of impact rather than prolonging the confrontation. This development illustrates the fine line between asserting one's position and avoiding risk. Bobcat acted decisively when opportunities were clear, but did not let conflict spiral out of control. In nature, true character lies in the ability to stop at the right moment. In every encounter, what stands out is not ferocity, but precision. Wildcats survive by their ability to read their environment and wait for the right moment. Success doesn't come from sheer strength, but from patience and control. Nature always rewards individuals who know how to time things correctly.